Hi, I'm Jan Doyle. Welcome to Wise Talk. I really wish you could have been here when we weren't taping because I've had the most wonderful experience in the last hour. And we were talking a couple times it should be on tape, but you might get a little sneak preview of what we've talked about. I'd like you to meet tonight's guest. His name is Lionel Ketchian. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jan. It's really great to be here with you.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful discussion prior to this. And we said that we should have been rolling the tape.
Yeah.
The audience would have gotten an earful.
Absolutely.
But you're here because I met you less than a month ago at the Happiness Club. And I met you, I said something strange, and I do these things all the time, but you just sort of went with it and you were fine with it. And so I appreciate that. But let's talk about the Happiness Club. What is the Happiness Club?
Sure. Really, it was a group that was started because I thought 17 years ago that happiness worked wonders in my life, and I thought I'd share some of those ideas and concepts with others. And the group has grown. I mean, it started in Fairfield, Connecticut. And we've been meeting now for, it's going to be 17 years by the end of this year. Tina's group that I met you at here in Madison. Tina's been running her group for 10 years this October, so she's been doing it a long time as well.
She has, and she's phenomenal, I might add.
She is the best.
And I
Really
also
good.
understand, I haven't been able to go consistently because of some commitments, but when I go, I do get a lot out of it.
Yeah, I think if people go to a meeting, there's always something that you get out of a meeting, a speaker, because the meetings are really going to listen to somebody present some aspect of happiness, whether it's an author or, a psychologist, or even an everyday person and has had experiences that work in sharing how happiness has worked for them in their life. And if it's worked for them, maybe we could find ways to make it work for us. That's the whole purpose of a Happiness Club meeting.
Well, that makes sense, and I just like to emphasize there's no cost to the participants.
Free.
Who has free things nowadays?
Happiness clubs.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, when I made some notes on what we were doing,
Sure.
I made a note on you go and people don't love their jobs, they don't love their relationships, they don't love what they're doing every day, and can a Happiness Club change that for a person, or is it a process? It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, I would make this claim to begin with. Nothing can change anyone. Only they can change. So if you're looking for something better, start within yourself because you're the one carrying yourself around. And if you think things on the outside are going to be the catalyst to help you with the change you're looking for, you're probably mistaken. As you get older, you start realizing that true change happens within oneself. So to enable ourselves to experience better things, we have to change our focus, for example. For example, I could also make the statement that if you're looking to become a happier person, I can help you with that very quickly, and by focusing on one thing and making this very important, mindfulness and a real and that is being grateful or appreciating what you have. Like right now, I consider myself healthy, relatively healthy, actually very healthy, in spite of whatever things that are going on in my life. Somebody else will say, oh, I don't have that problem or that illness, but I'm healthy. I mean, there are people that are not my age anymore. They're not even alive anymore.
Yes,
so
that's true.
I am healthy and grateful and appreciating this very moment. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you step into this moment with appreciation, you're living the life that is only a dream for most people. But it can only happen in this moment. It's living in the present. But that's where happiness is, and it's also bringing with appreciation and gratitude, you're focusing a mindfulness to yourself. In other words, I'm not just sitting here, I'm appreciating the fact that I'm sitting here. That's different than just saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. If I were doing something else, it might be better. If I had a hat on, maybe I'd be happier. That's ridiculous. It's got nothing to do with happiness. Happiness is just being here and saying it's okay because the next moment will change. And if we handle this moment well, it spills into the next, and the next has got that added benefit from the last.
I think that's very interesting. And how do you stay mindful? You know, because I agree with everything you say. And when you talk about gratitude, every morning I have a journal and I write down what I'm grateful for the day before.
Perfect.
Because it helps me remember.
Yes.
And then I do daily spiritual work. And only because I started this about a year ago, and it's daily Bible reading, and it just, every day I feel like I move a little bit further on the road to being a better person. But sometimes during the day, it kind of, depending on what happens, I can lose my way a little bit. And I'm sure other people do. So how do you get back to that everyday mindfulness?
Let me ask you a question. You mentioned the Bible. Do you know about, or have you ever heard Joel Osteen on television?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I think
he's on radio. I listen to him.
He's on radio. He's on Sirius Radio. He's on television on Sundays. But Joel, I've been listening to him maybe from when he really started, and I happened to tune into him long ago, and I was mesmerized by him from the very first time. And his very first show was Choose Happiness. So like he had me hooked. Yeah, that was an act of God. Really.
Yes, yes.
But I'm amazed at him, but I bring him up for a reason. For a minister, he's really a psychologist. And he's always giving us mindfulness ideas. I think, for example, like you said, reading the Bible, you said focusing on appreciation. You're already doing things to focus yourself, to be mindful, to be present. You're already doing it. I think what happens in our brain, because the real enemy is our thinking. It's not always our friend. And we're always thinking, well, we should do better. We could be better.
Yes.
You're doing better, but that's never enough, is it?
No, it's not. That's exactly.
Yes, it is.
You're absolutely right, because I start my day this way every day, and with a cup of coffee, I might add.
Oh, that's good.
And I love sitting outside, but I do feel it's not enough. That's exactly right.
Well, that feeling is feeling you're not complete until something happens. You are complete.
Oh, that's interesting.
You're complete. You are complete. You can say you're co-creating with God. I think happiness is a form of creativity, because I think everything else is a reaction. Unhappiness is just a reaction to things, and it doesn't get you anywhere. It just bonds you to the negative.
Yes, yes.
So I'm free of that. I'm free of reacting to things. I could choose to be more responsive to things, to be, to consider what my options are, what my choices are, and then to respond to something, but not react. I try not to react. When you react, you get angry. You don't know you're getting angry, so you lose yourself.
Yes, yes. That has happened. That happened to me about a week or two ago. I got angry at a situation, and I thought about it. I called and apologized. I did the best I could to make amends, and I've learned from the situation.
Was the apology accepted?
Half and half.
It doesn't really matter, because you apologize.
I apologize. I did what I could.
I think forgiveness is one of the key building blocks to happiness. If you don't know how to forgive, you're sunk.
I think
you're really stuck. Yes. It's one more brick in the prison that you're building.
I've said to other people, I can forgive anybody anything.
Wow.
And I don't necessarily forget the situation, because I'm not dumb.
Right.
And I won't repeat it, but I can forgive what you did.
But you know what you do when you forgive, Jan? You're letting yourself off the hook, not the other person.
Oh.
You're letting yourself off the hook, and you're dismantling the emotional hand grenade that's within you. So you're no longer reacting negatively and bitterly. You're letting it go.
I'm letting it go.
You're letting it go. Let it go. Let God. Whatever you might say that works for you, but letting it go is a big deal. You know, I was watching my own television show this past Monday, and I had some words, and I say, hey, that's pretty good, because I just come out of the moment a lot. So what I was saying, and I'll repeat it here on the air. In nature, you said you like to go out and be outdoors.
I love being outdoors.
That's really
taking pictures.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
So, with the ocean, the tide comes in, the tide goes out. It comes in and out twice a day, right? Now, with our minds, the tide comes in, the tide comes in, the tide comes in, the tide comes in. It never goes out. So we're loaded, we're flooded with so much stuff that's negative, hurtful. We don't know how to let the tide back out.
Oh, that's
mentally.
That's a very
we
good
need to
point.
learn the rhythms of nature and let it in and let it out. Otherwise, we're going to be flooding ourselves with negativity, and we're sunk.
We are sunk.
We're drowning in it.
Now and then, so each individual has to find their own way to
Yes.
let this out.
Absolutely. But we can learn from others. And it's simple. I think it's simple. It's not easy. You know, I have a psychiatrist who said, yeah, this is not easy because it takes practice. But if you get to the point where you learn it's simple. For example, if you listen to Joel Osteen for, you know, maybe 4 weekends on Sundays, I think you pick up a lot. You'll
Yes.
grasp a lot of good pointers that he has to help one live their lives
Yes.
better.
Yes.
And that's what he's really talking about. Because, you know, the greatest thing about being happy, other than you feel better, is happiness is the kind of contagious thing that not only allows you to feel better, but it allows you to spill over and share it with someone else, whether you like it or not. In other words, you get contaminated and, you know, you get exposed to it as well, because that's the benefit of happiness. It's
You know,
like
and
that.
other emotions, you could take other emotions. When people are acting in another way, it can contaminate
Look
you.
at negativity.
Yes.
It
yes.
works that way too.
Yes, it does. Joel, I have Sirius FM in my car.
My son's been listening to him.
It's a
on
beautiful
Sirius.
thing.
Yeah.
And then, so I either play that, there's the Laugh channel, which I
Yep,
love.
that's great.
And, or the love music, which
perfect.
number 17, I don't know if you use it, but I love, those 3 channels are,
Okay.
you know, I go for.
I don't have Sirius.
You
FM.
don't
No,
have
I don't.
Sirius? Oh, you need to go home and get this.
Oh, no, I got everything I need.
Give it thought. Just
Okay.
don't throw it
All
out.
right. Okay.
Okay. Now I also understand you were in the Happiness Hall of Fame. First of all, I'm shocked that there was a Happiness Hall of Fame. Do you know how that came about, and then how you got in it?
Yeah, it was pretty simple. It started a couple of years ago with at Stanford University, and it was just an idea that someone had, you know, that to, I guess, recognize people that are doing work in the happiness arena and related things. And the way I ended up is somebody had heard about me, and they said, you know, I'd like you to be in the first one. And I went out to California, and it was a wonderful experience because I got to meet so many other wonderful people. So that was fun.
You know, that's why I like doing this Wise Talk, because I have the opportunity to meet and connect with a lot of people.
Isn't it wonderful?
It really is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have that opportunity.
Well, look how
otherwise.
much you've expanded and how much you know, you have exposure that other people don't have.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for it, and I understand that. And I am so lucky to be able to do this.
But that's what makes you a happy person, because you're grateful for it.
That's a good point.
And you are happy.
I am happy.
Do you have everything in the world that you could possibly want?
Absolutely not.
So what?
But you know what? We had a discussion beforehand that at my condo has a gas leak, and my gas has been turned off. And part of me is a little surprised I'm not more upset over it than I
Right.
really am. Annoyed is a better word.
That's
But
good.
I looked down at my notes for you, and it talks about an issue of power and not letting that gas that I can have no control over anyway
Right.
to control how I'm going to be feeling.
You know the Serenity Prayer, right? I don't know it
Yes.
off the top of my head, but most people know, you know, it's letting go of the things you can't control. But you know, we can't control very much, but we don't know that. I've learned I probably can't control anything. And I don't need to. That's the great lesson for me. I can let it all go, and I can handle it even better. You know, people don't realize that when you're not controlling things, you're still controlling them because you're not letting them control you.
Oh,
That's a
good
big
way.
deal.
Yes, yes, yes.
And like I said to you, you know, before the show started, I want to share it with your audience. Happiness is all about power, not giving it away. And people want your power. They think they want it because they don't have their own. So they think they need it for them to have power when they really need to find their own and not let that go.
Now, how would not necessarily me, but how would someone give their power away? How would I give my power away?
Sure, because if you get angry with somebody, you could say they made you angry, but you gave them your power.
So if I get angry over a situation and I allow myself to get that upset, then I've given them my power.
Yeah, I'll make it even simpler. Let's go down to one word. It all comes down to judgment. If we judge anything or anyone, we will be unhappy. It's that simple. So I've learned where my unhappiness comes from. And maybe people today won't learn about how to be happy, but I'll teach you how to be unhappy. Judge everything. If you judge the fact you have a power outage, you'll be unhappy. Why would you do that to yourself when you can't control it? Do what you can do. I think it's all about choices. Make whatever choices you have available to you and you're aware of, and then let it go. Now, here's a big trick. Here's a big secret. If you're happy, you're going to be opening your mind to better choices than when you're unhappy. Make sense?
Oh, that does make a lot of
So
sense.
when your
to
mind
me.
is closed and unhappy, and you're saying, what the heck am I going to do? You're not going to know what to do. And you're going to be so miserable about the unhappy. In fact, I would say that if your hand represented unhappiness, a problem, and this hand represented unhappiness, and you put that over the problem, and you look down at your problem, and you're saying, oh, I hate this problem, I can't stand it, what you're really looking at is your unhappiness, not the problem. So if you get rid of your unhappiness, you can now see the problem for the very first time. And guess what? You created two problems. You had a problem, you created unhappiness. If you get rid of your unhappiness, you just got rid of half your problems.
Oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. That really is wonderful.
It's simple.
Did you come up with that?
Yes, I did.
Shoot.
Boy Scout honor. I was an Eagle Scout.
Oh, I was a Girl Scout.
Right.
I loved being a Girl Scout.
I thought it was I lived in New York and had a chance to get the Nature Merit Badge in Manhattan. What could be better than
Where?
that? I was near the parks. And
Okay, I'm thinking, my first thought was Nature, Manhattan.
I tracked a rabbit,
Central Park, okay.
Well,
so you are a New York boy.
Yes. Been out here for 46 years. I love Connecticut.
What brought you out to Connecticut?
The trees.
Oh, good.
We wanted the, we thought it was the outdoors, but Connecticut's been growing a lot.
Yeah, it has. I know it has. They've been taking away our land.
Yeah.
The bears are having issues because they've been coming into the cities because they're taking away the lands from the bears. I also noticed that you had a formula called DOC.
Oh,
the
boy.
DOC happiness
Now
formula.
you're going to make me remember. Yeah.
I will make you remember because
Sure,
I have it written down. You don't have to remember a thing.
Well, it's the decision minus an obstacle plus your choice. So I think happiness is about making the decision to be happy. I mean, if you get married, you make a commitment, you make a decision. You don't always remember you're married, so that's where the choices come in. Say, oh, wait a minute, I'm married, I better do the right thing. Well, when you make the decision to be happy, you could learn to do the right thing for yourself. Always. And you know what? When you meet, the biggest culprit to taking away our happiness is obstacles and problems. So I named it the DOC formula, obstacles. So when we encounter an obstacle, we kind of just give away our happiness. That's kind of stupid because there's nothing. Actually, in fact, there's nothing you want more in life than happiness. In fact, the only reason you're miserable is because you haven't got happiness and you think somebody took it. But you gave it away. You gave it to them. Or you gave it to the problem. And if you give it away to a problem, you're less capable of dealing with the problem. So it becomes a very important tactical strategy to hold on to your happiness, have your resources, be in a good mental frame of mind so you can not only access better choices and be mentally alert for it, but frankly, we talked about God, the Bible, the universe. I think when you're open and at peace, let's call it at peace, because part of this is just being more peaceful. The universe kind of downloads good ideas to you that are not going to be accessible to you if you're unhappy.
That's
you're
exactly
closed.
right.
You're done. You're not open-minded. So how can it download? It's like turning the computer off and saying the program won't work.
Yes. You're absolutely right. I found some ideas come to me at very strange times, but I also found that when I'm in a I hesitate to use the word happy, but
Meditative?
Well, I would just say
peaceful.
Maybe it is happy. One thing I love to do is take photographs, and I love to go look for
You're in
photographs.
flow. You're in flow.
I'm in flow.
Yeah.
And I run into people that makes it so wonderful.
Because you're connecting with them through the lens.
Yes.
Connection is a big part of happiness.
Yes.
I'm connected to you right now because there's nothing else but you.
Yes.
Nothing. Well, the flowers are pretty, but
Well, thank you.
I'm connected with you, really.
Well, and so an experience happened the other day. I was out taking a ride, and I saw this man in a field of sunflowers, and he had this bonnet down or this hat on, and I circled around and came back, and I asked him if I could take his photo, and it turned out I knew him.
Oh.
And then his wife came out, and we just had the most delightful conversation about
wonderful?
all of this. And I think when you're in these moments, it allows you to perhaps connect with other people that if you were
You know, I think there were two. I used to think just sharing happiness concepts and things was my whole purpose in life. I was wrong. I found out that there's more to happiness, and the other two parts of it is, besides the ideas of happiness, you know, the importance of it, the value of it, is communication and connection. And that's what you did. You communicated with the person, even by waving and stopping by and then talking to the person and then opening up. And then that led to the connection. We don't know how to really connect anymore. The internet is not connection.
Oh, you're absolutely
Email's
right.
not connection.
Neither
Twitter's
is Facebook.
None of that.
None of that is connection.
What's real is being with someone and really entering their world, really becoming the other person, so to speak.
Yes. And I think it's getting worse when, I get people in California who want to friend me, and there's no point. It's they want to have a number on theirs, so they have like 5 million friends.
Sure.
And so you're right.
But 5 million of your closest
Oh,
friends.
I say to people, I have a lot of acquaintances and very few real friends.
Wow.
Very few the kind of friend that you call up in the middle of the night to take you to the doctors if you need it. And that, it's kind of like, how many people would do that for you? You have a wife, she'll do it for you anytime.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Now, I noticed in your bio that you went to prisons and taught the happiness.
Yeah, but they let me out.
They let you out. You didn't stay there.
No.
That must have been an
good behavior.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That must have been an
that was
experience.
wonderful because I was able, it was a 3-hour session, and it's wonderful talking to people that can't leave.
Yes.
Can't walk out on you.
Yeah,
That's
but
great.
I hear a lot of women like to find their husbands in
That's
prison.
true. That's a good way
where
to
they
do
are
it.
at night.
Absolutely.
Yes.
A lot of people do find
Yes,
their
they
loved
do.
ones that
I
way.
do. That's not my particular game plan,
But really, the whole point was that once you're locked up, your choices are limited. But in actuality, you only think they are. You could formulate other choices. For example, it isn't that you're happy that you're in prison, but if you make the best of it, you could turn it into a good thing, frankly. So that rather than being bitter, about the doors closing at night on you, you could do better for yourself. And you're only hurting yourself, and actually you're probably helping yourself if you are better. If you become a better person in prison, you're having a better experience for yourself. You're actually leading yourself towards happiness and becoming happy. And the third aspect is sort of the miraculous, because I love Bernie Siegel, love medicine and miracles.
Oh, yes.
The miracles part of it is that maybe they'll let you out because they'll say, wait a minute, this person has really transformed, and they make room. So it only works for you in all the best ways that possibly can.
Well, you mentioned Bernie Siegel. He was on this show for about 5 years. Everybody loves Bernie. I love Bernie.
Everybody loves Bernie.
But you work with Bernie.
Yeah, we do a radio show together. You want to know something? 30 years ago, on August 10th, 1986, 30 years ago, almost today, Bernie was on my radio show in Ansonia, Connecticut, Successful Living, and we talked about his first book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, 30, and kiddingly on the show, I said, Bernie, I'm going to make you famous, but there it is. The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is
Bernie, see that?
Yes,
it's all
yes.
me.
That book was required reading for me in a graduate course.
It should be.
And it was a holistic health course.
Yeah.
And at that time, little did I know I would have the opportunity to meet him. And
He's great.
Oh, I love Bernie.
love him.
I just love him. Now,
I love what he's done with transforming the world. He transformed the medical, the doctors. I mean, he was a maverick, and he really stood the world on its head.
Yes, he did. He did. Now, I also copied. Now, I understand you have a newspaper column, a blog, a book, emails. So you're quite the man. I'm just saying, you're quite the man. What do you think is your biggest accomplishment?
Being happy.
Being happy.
Yeah, being happy.
In everyday life.
Yeah, because, I began to value happiness in 1989. That's when I wrote that book, Food for Thought. And like the first page of it on the back is happiness is a decision.
Yes.
And the first page, which is in the back, because the book is upside down, because nobody knows what side is up. That's why I
Is
wrote it.
that why?
Yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody, you know what?
Now you know. You're
now
the only one who knows.
Now, know what I thought it was a publishing error.
No, it wasn't. I was a printer. Why would I print it upside down? I did it on purpose. But you probably held on to the book a little longer than if it was right side up.
Well, that's so interesting.
That's funny.
No one...
But here's the thing. The thing is that I wrote that book, really put a lot of effort and thought into happiness, and found out happiness was really important. And then I had this experience. December 24th, the day before Christmas, 1990, at around 5 o'clock, I realized I was happy. Just like I could look at those flowers and not say a word, or I could look at those flowers and tell myself, you know what, they're really beautiful. That's a realization. That's different than looking at flowers and not really having a connection to them. I had a realization that I'm happy, and I said, I don't want to let this go. This is too good. So I wonder what I got to do to hold on to this. I didn't think it was possible. But what I started learning is if I have something valuable and all I have to do is hold on to it, you start learning a lot of ways to hold on to what you think is valuable.
Oh, that's very interesting.
See, so that was the way for me.
That's very
Now I
interesting.
got it. You're not, I'll share it, I'll give it to you, but you're not taking it, because that's how I lose it. And by the way, when I give you a lot of mine, I get more. So I'm ready to give.
That is...
But if you steal it and I get angry, I lost it.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I say. And that's how I learned to develop this technique, that it is rather simple but not easy, because you got to practice it all the time.
Yes, that's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time, and I want to make sure that you give your website and
Okay.
contact information.
Sure.
So could you just tell us what it is?
Sure. It's happinessclub.com, and that's you can get a free newsletter. You could start a happiness club. Everything's free. You can find out where the meetings are in Connecticut and around the world. That's basically all there is to it.
I think it would be wonderful if people maybe who are hearing this maybe go the next step and go to a Happiness Club meeting.
It'd be great.
And they're everywhere. It's not like it has to be just where this is being aired, because we're going to upload this to YouTube. But they're everywhere.
Absolutely.
And you just Google it and find it.
Absolutely. People could watch this, and if they DVR it on their home television, they can invite a friend over, start their own club, and say, let's talk about what we're hearing on television right now. Let's practice together to be accountable to one another to keep the happiness decision. And let's figure out how to use that decision when we have a problem. It transforms your life. Because then the problem doesn't overwhelm you and make it the center of your life anymore. Your happiness does.
Yes, that's a good, and on that we're going to have to stop. We are out of time. Thank you so much. You're an angel. So if you would like to contact him, even if you forgot his, what he said about his website, just Google Happiness Club. That'll be a great way for you to go. If you need to contact me, jmdteach@comcast.net, or probably the best way. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. My pleasure, Jan. Thanks.
Okay, so we didn't get to all my notes.